Okay, so we're gonna move on to the co-main event of UFC 309 now, and up until the last, middle of the fifth round, it was pretty much a masterclass from Charles Oliveira. But then Michael Chandler caught Charles Oliveira with one punch and made it pretty interesting. But Do Bronx was able to survive. Afterwards, they both talked in the cage, and I want to focus on Michael Chandler and his freaking cringe call out of Conor McGregor. Just here's what I'm going to hit you with, Farah. Michael Chandler should stop acting so desperate to fight Conor McGregor.
That's not an overreaction. I just didn't see like that as a appropriate moment for a call out, especially because obviously recency bias. You remember that last part of the fight, and it was entertaining, it was wild. But prior to that, he did not look very good.
No.
I know Charles Oliveira is a great fighter, but the way their first fight went in comparison to this, you could tell the layoff played a factor. You could tell with this performance that Michael Chandler is probably no longer considered in the upper echelon of the division. He's 2-4 in the UFC, losses to Gaethje, Poirier, Oliveira twice. Last win came over Tony Ferguson. I just think it's a rough spot. Daniel Cormier seems to love that Michael Chandler did that. I just don't think it was the exact appropriate moment. Conor McGregor, at the end of the day, like whether he comes back or not, is coming off of a massive layoff himself. He's coming off of back-to-back losses. Who knows what he's going to look like anyway. So I guess the idea of him fighting Chandler isn't really out of the window because they're both in a similar spot. I just don't think that was the moment to make this crazy call out. Like if it was a very competitive fight with Oliveira throughout, sure, right, maybe.
But he had those last couple minutes. He had the 2 body slams. He must have been feeling himself in the moment. It's just it's just so cringe and it's so unbecoming. I mean, are you really going to let's just say he got Conor McGregor's attention. Let's just say he got Conor's attention. Are you really going to put your career on hold again for Conor McGregor? Even if they were to hypothetically agree to a fight in the next few months, that let's just say won't happen until International Fight Week or maybe MSG next November. Okay, July or November. You're really going to put your career on hold again? Because you don't even know if Conor McGregor is going to show up to the cage.
Yeah, no, this layoff hurt him. It was clear. Like it hurt him. Like he was coming off of those fights. Like he had good moments against Gaethje. He had good moments against Dustin Poirier. He had good moments against Charles Oliveira. This wasn't one of those fights. This was kind of like a late rally, like almost was going to be considered one of the greatest comebacks, right? In UFC history, if he pulled it off. So I don't like how he looked in that fight. He's always in shape. I get that. But clearly the layoff hurt him. He's 38 years old right now. I just think that this performance showed how much that layoff hurt and how much he shouldn't have waited for Conor McGregor all this time. So Dana White is talking about McGregor coming back in late 2025. That's another year out. Is Michael Chandler seriously considering that? Like, and this wasn't even one of those rock'em sock'em wars. Like he was just controlled on the ground. So he actually weirdly took less damage than he did in his other ones.
Yeah, he can get back in there. I mean, it is interesting. I just want to hit you with this one time and ask you about just Chandler's approach. Okay. Since he came over from Bellator, where he was a very accomplished Bellator fighter. He was a multiple-time champion over in Bellator. He did come to the UFC, it just seems, with a mindset of just throwing the pedigree out and just wanting to entertain. Do you think he's ultimately winning at this stage of his career in the end? Like, is he winning this stage of his career by just being the action-crazy Michael Chandler fighter? Because it does feel like he could win more fights if he wanted to at least make the attempt, but it just doesn't seem like he's interested in fighting smart at all.
Yeah, no, I do think at this point he is winning, especially when you have Dana White saying that this is always going to be your home. Like he doesn't care about Michael Chandler's record. It's just he's lucky with lightweight, that lightweight has enough notable names that you can match him up with a lot of fun guys. I just think that this performance takes him out of the upper echelon of the division. I just don't want to hear him tying his name to anybody in the top 5 anymore. Like it just does not make sense. Even this Oliveira fight, Oliveira had a lot to lose and he had a lot to gain. And he didn't end up capitalizing on that opportunity. At the end of the day, like it's just Oliveira looked levels above him in that fight. He's just lucky that lightweight is a big enough division where you could match him up with anybody and anyone's going to want to fight him because he's become a fan favorite and he made sure to remind people of that. So it was a little bit smart for him, maybe not fight IQ wise, but smart of him the way he ended the fight and stuff to kind of remind people why people love to watch him fight.
Well, maybe Michael Chandler has reached this status where he's like a Nate Diaz, where even if he loses, he still wins. he still wins.
Yeah.
So, you know, I guess that's something to hang your hat on. And he's got Dana White's approval to do, you know, for the rest of his career, however long he wants to fight. So maybe he's winning in some ways. I'll concede that. But please stop with the cringe Conor McGregor call outs. It's killing me, man.
MMA Junkie AI.